You follow a logical pattern. You apply a rule that has worked a dozen times before, and then the logic suddenly locks up. Take the standard rule for forming questions. To transform "you are happy," you move the verb to the front. You are becomes are you. Applying this logic to possession creates a problem. You have a pen becomes have you a pen, which sounds entirely unnatural. This friction occurs when we assume one structural movement applies to every sentence in the language. Resolving this involves looking at the verbs themselves. We can categorize them by how they behave. Some possess the power to move, while others require a specific helper to form a question. The be verbs, am, is, are, was, and were, are a specialized group. These are flippers. They have the unique ability to move themselves to the start of a sentence without outside assistance. Most other verbs, like want, need, or eat, function as main verbs. These words are static. They cannot shift their position to form a question. Since these main verbs are locked, we bring in a helper verb. We place do or does at the beginning of the sentence. This gives us, "Do you like pizza?" The main verb stays put, while do handles the heavy lifting. We use does specifically for the pronouns he, she, and it. Does he play cricket? This explains why have you a pen fails. When have indicates possession, it acts as a static main verb. It stays in its position and waits for the helper. Do you have a pen? For any present tense action, the main verb remains immobile. Do or does must always lead the sentence. In the past tense, the system remains consistent, but the helper verb changes to did for every subject. Consider a basic past tense statement. I made a mistake. A common error is to keep the verb in the past tense even after adding the helper, resulting in did I made a mistake? The helper did absorbs the past tense status of the entire sentence. Because did is doing that work, the main verb returns to its simplest base form. He bought becomes did he buy. She told becomes did she tell. They canceled becomes did they cancel. The helper verb takes on the grammatical weight, allowing the main verb to stay in its base state. Certain groups of verbs move back into the flipper category. The first are modals: can, could, will, should, must, and might. Modals are structurally capable of moving to the front on their own. They do not accept do or does as helpers. Can you drive? Will you call me? Should you try again? Then there is the dual nature of the word have. When have isn't showing possession, but is helping another action, like finished or eaten, it changes roles. In these present perfect sentences, have becomes a flipper and moves to the front. Have you finished your work? The specific job a verb performs in a sentence determines whether it stays in place or moves to the front. Sentence construction becomes predictable when you use a quick diagnostic checklist. Before you speak, identify the verb. If it's a be verb, a modal, or a present perfect have, flip its position. For any other action, leave it in place and lead with a helper. Try this framework on these 5 sentences. The patterns we've discussed cover every one of them. Mastering these structures replaces the need to memorize endless lists of exceptions. You simply have to identify the verb's role before you